All right, so today I'm going to go over all of the features that kind of before we get to the sale. Sorry, I'm going to mute my phone here. Okay. I'm going to go over everything here before the sale process. This is a kind of a sales training on all the features that can be used to make your life easier as a salesman. Okay. So we're going to go into a customer. We're going to go into Mickey Mouse because that's who I like to be. Okay. Select here. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to point out here is, this is the customer page, right? This is where you can edit all the details with the customer. You can double click here or you can click the details at the top. Either way, it's going to lead you into the same spot. Okay. Now, the first thing we have under the tabs is follow-ups, okay? So the follow-ups are going to allow you to plug in when you reach out to a client, okay? The most important, so when we go here, when we hit add new, you can, select how you did it, select whether you were successful or not. Okay, if you send like a text message or something, waiting is a way to do it. Like, I sent an email, but I'm waiting for a response. Okay, I've sent it out. I've done my part. I'm waiting for a response. After about 3 days of waiting, you're going to probably move it to unsuccessful. Okay, so we're going to say phone call, say unsuccessful. Let's say we left a voicemail. Okay, something like that, and hit save. So every time you touch the client, you can put out that you touched, right? That lead, and I've reached out, talked to them, or whether it was successful or unsuccessful. Okay, this is really helpful for managers to know how many times you're reaching out to people. A lot of people have rules like you reach out 5 times and then we consider it a dead lead, right? So this is how you're going to put out every time you reach out to a client. Okay? Notes are very simple. Notes are your electronic sticky notes. Okay. When you add a new note, you can just type in a general note, but you can also have note categories, okay? These categories are customizable. So I can add in a new category at any point, okay? We have general ones in there already for you, but remember, make the system your own, right? That's how it's going to work for you the best, okay? So you can put in personality and talks too much, probably like me in all my meetings. Right, and then subject, keep it short. Okay, hit save. Have it there. Okay. Next, we have samples. Samples allow you to keep track of things. Okay, so when we hit add new sample here, right, you can search, the sample that you gave out to them. Remember, every product that you have in the system, we just assume there's a sample associated with it, okay? So we can select that here, just select picked up, okay? Pick up date, when they're supposed to return it, and hit save, okay? That's on hold. And then we go, and then we mark it as returned, okay? So when they bring it, they have it on hold, and then when they bring it back, you just mark it as returned, and you can change the return date if necessary, okay? Remember, you get your alerts up here when they don't return things. And I'm going to go over alerts specifically here in a little bit. Okay. Tasks. This is how you keep yourself on track, right? Remind yourself to do things. So we're going to add a task into the system. Okay, you're going to say task type, estimate, follow-up, grab coffee, right? It's all customizable, internal meeting measurement. So I can follow up, okay? When do I want to set the task for? So I can set it for this afternoon. I have an end task, and I can send SMS reminders either to myself or to the client. Now with a follow-up, you're probably not sending out messages to the client. Hey, remember, you're about to be followed up with. That's a little weird, right? But for things like inspections where you're going to be in the customer's house and measurements when you're going to be in the customer's house, you're definitely going to want those alerts to go out automatically to those customers, okay? Next, we have emails. So every email, as you can see, that you send out through the system, okay, it's going to be in here. Okay, so you can see all the emails you sent out. Same with the text messages. So everything that you send to this customer, you're going to have very visible to yourself. Okay. Now you can also send emails straight from here. So when I hit send email, I can attach documents from the cloud, so documents you've uploaded to the system, and files from your computer straight on the email. So you can choose either, cloud documents or select files. Okay. Then we have the email subject here, and then the body of your email here. You can, insert hyperlinks, whatever you can normally do with emails. Okay. SMSs, just a little bit more straightforward. You're just typing it in what you want to say and then hitting send. Okay. Any questions so far by any of our audience members?
Nope.
Documents. Okay, so documents allow you to upload any document into the system as long as it's under 4 megabytes. Okay, any document style or extension, it's all the same. Excel, JPEG, IMG, PNG, whatever your picture file is, or a PDF, or Word document, it doesn't matter to us. All the only thing that matters to us is size. Okay, so just try to keep it under 4 megabytes. Okay. Keeping track of your clients here. So we got addresses. So the first address you put in, okay, that's going to be the billing address. That's what you want to keep up here, is the billing address. Okay. Your job site addresses are going to be under here. So you can add in job site addresses, or you can put in 123 Main Street, Houston. Now, I think it was you, John, right, that requested we put the address search here as well. And so we're going to add the address search here as well, the same Google Maps one we have, to make it a little bit easier on you guys. Okay. We didn't realize how heavily this feature would be used. Moving forward. Last thing is contacts. Okay. Contacts allow you to add in, different people under the same contact. It could be, oftentimes it's the husband or wife, right? Whoever's not here is going to be here. Okay. The other spouse. Also, with companies, it can be project managers, CROs. It could be, CFOs, CEOs, whoever you have to send things to get approval, the accounts payable department, accounts receivable department, things like that. You're able to put in all those different contacts that you need. Okay. You're able to put their name, their role, with their own email and phone number. Okay. You can send them communication as well as send them all the quotes. Okay. In the system. Okay. So that's kind of it as far as what you can do here. Now I kind of want to talk about how do we use them in practicality, right? And what different screens, reports, and things, okay, to look at. So the first thing we can look at customers, okay, is we actually had a request last week to add 2 new filters, okay? Those filters are almost done. And you can see here, you can see location, main address, you can see the status of the quote, so you can sort by the status, salesman, the date, okay, whether they're builders or your customers. The other one that we're going to be doing is lead sources. So you're going to be able to filter by lead sources, okay, as well. Okay, you want me to go over set a business client? Okay, so we'll set up this business client. So I'm going to hit add new customer. Okay, and I'm going to put in that they're a builder. And I'm going to say my contact name is, I'm just going to pick on you here. So 1. Marta Diaz, is that how you spell it? Okay. And then we can say the building company is Zap Builders. Okay. All right. There it is. Okay. All right. So we have Juan Marta Diaz, Zap Builders. Okay. So we'll put in the cell phone. I'll put in my own. You guys all have it anyway. Okay. And then we're going to do the address again, this is their billing address. All right, so 77 Sugar Creek Boulevard Center, Katy, Texas. That's our address. Okay, can pull up everything. So now we're going to set up a business customer. The first thing you might want to do is set up the payment terms. Okay, customers often have terms here. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to hit save. Okay, and then when I go in here, so we have follow-up notes, samples, tasks, emails, documents, but the thing I'm going to do here is addresses. So this is the address we're looking. We're going to hit add new address, and we're going to build their new address. So these builders are going to be working on, well, I can't use the same address. Sorry. So 123 Main Street, okay, Houston, okay, and then 77001, okay, and you can assign that a title. So we can say the seminar job, okay, and save. So we have that. We can even attach the contact. So if the guy's name is Joiner Seminar, okay, and he is the home owner, right? And you can put his contact information here. You can actually set up the address to be his address, okay? So now we have the Joiner Seminar, okay? Now let's add in another contact. We'll say the accounts payable. So I always put the main contact in as the first and last name. Okay, so mostly the project manager, because that's who's responsible for it. And I'm gonna show you in a second. Okay, why I do it like that. Okay, you got the payables department and their email and stuff. Okay, save. So now when we build a quote with this client, okay, when the shipping contacts, I want to send it to the project manager, and I also probably want to send it to the accounts payable department, right? Give me money. The service site contact, however, is probably going to be the homeowner, which is John Seminar, so it's a seminar job in 123 Main Street, right? And the expiration date, tax rate, everything. So I'm just going to import a template because building the quote doesn't really matter at this point. But now when we look at it, okay, when you view it, you have the customer information. It's Zap Builders, and you can even choose to put the main contact's information in here. Okay, so you can have it be Zap Builders, and then put in John, right, or Juan Murta Diaz, right, in here. Then you have the address, okay, and the cell phone of the company, right, and your main contact, and then you have the service site details, which is the client, or which is their client, right, who you're doing the sub for. Okay, how would you add the customer's name there? So this would be, are you talking about the it's in the company-wide settings. So that would be the first and last name. You're asking about the project manager, right, John? Yeah, okay, yeah. Then it's going to be in the company-wide settings. Okay. And we're actually changing the customizations to that here. Then we have the contact name. So this is the homeowner, and their information is going to populate here. So the service site. Okay. Then when you send it, of course, it'll send it to both the emails on file. So the PM has a copy of it as well as his accounts payables department. Okay. I find it much easier to keep it by project manager than to do it by company, because especially if you're working with a lot of companies and 3 or 4 different project managers, it's going to get real confusing, and you're going to have a lot of things under one client. Okay. Now the other half of it, if you put in each individual client or their client as the customer, then it becomes really hard over time to keep track of it because it's so spread out. So I find project manager is kind of the nicer, happy medium. Okay. Okay. Now, now that we set up the business client, Any other questions with the business client? Okay. So I'm going to go in and put kind of, the tools in front of me to good use and point out where and how I would use some of the tools we have. Okay. So as a salesman, one of the greatest tools we have up here is the shortcuts. Okay. The shortcuts I don't think is used near, excuse me, is used near as often as it needs to be. Okay. So we got in a new customer. Okay. So you can add a new customer, new measurement, new quote, create an invoice. You have your tasks, job board, lead board, product lookup, and labor lookup. Okay. So all those things are things that you can, you want to get to probably quick. Okay. So when the client comes in, you plug in their information, right? And then they ask you, well, how much does this product cost? Things like that. Okay. If you're using our QR codes, you can say, hey, scan the QR code. It tells you everything you need to know. Okay. But for your own sake, you can have the product lookup. Okay. This is the same page that pops up when you add products in a quote. Okay. So this allows you to pull up a product. So as soon as you guys, someone asks, hey, what's the price on this product? I can start searching it up. I could be like, okay, that's my cost. That's what's supposed to be my selling price. It's zero margin. Okay. So the one I select, of course, has a different, the zero margin. But I select something, like how much does this carpet pad, cost? Okay, well, it's going to be $650, or this wood, we'll do the wood, this inventory wood. How much does it cost? Well, it's $650. But hey, I have a little bit of room here. I've got 50% margin. I can get it to you for, $6 today. What do you say? Or, you can run a special, you can manipulate, but at least you're able to see what your cost is, okay? And then what your price is, so that way you can start playing around with anything you have in the system. Okay. Awesome. Okay, you can filter, of course, by stock type. So if they're looking in, non-inventory or inventory, okay, your vendor, right? So you can sort if they want to see what's your best Mohawk vinyl, right? So you go in, vendor, and you search Mohawk, and then you can say, okay, these are all the woods from Mohawk. So I want to see all the woods, and then which is your best price point? You can go in here and say, well, all right, well, our best price point right here. Okay, let's do 622, so I can sort, by the item cost and see which one can I give the best price point on. So which one of these woods do you have the best deal? Okay, this collection right here, we have the good ones. As long as you don't pick that color, one of these two colors, you're going to have it, that's the best I can do. Okay, or this hickory right here is the best I can do, and I can do it for this or that. Okay. The same with labors. Okay. Labors allow you to, you're allowed to search labors under the shortcut. So if they ask, like, how much would it be to install this? Okay. You can go and, select service type. You see all services, but you can go and, all right, well, vinyl, is it, it depends on what product that you use. Are you using a floating product? Are you using a glue down product? Because I guess it doesn't matter in this specific case, but then you can start to search, by your services, things like that. So that way you can give, accurate per square foot prices. Obviously, there's other things that go into a job, and as a salesman, you want to explain that, like, it's going to be roughly this, but then there might be, some additional things if we move furniture or do this, do that. But at least they have kind of a general cost to work with, and then you can give it easily, okay, and find just like you're adding to the quote, okay? Okay. Obviously, these new customer add quote, create quote, create invoice, okay, are very self-explanatory. The next thing I'm going to go over is a lead board, okay? So lead board tells you where everyone is in the system. As you can see, we created the quote for Juan, so now Juan is over here, okay, in quotes, okay? Now, if we go back to what we're looking at, which is, Mickey Mouse, right? Yeah, Mickey Mouse. Okay. So when we do Mickey Mouse, I'm going to start the lead tracking. Now we disabled it, so we're just going to start it, and you can search, new interest. Okay, so everything that happens after that date is now going to be available, okay, on this lead board. Okay, so I really like the lead board because you cannot lie to the lead board. Okay, a lot of times people in other sales systems, you can drag and move someone from one stage to the next, even if even if your employee hadn't done something. Okay, and this one, you cannot lie to the system. Okay, you are in leads until something happens. Okay, so we go back to our follow-ups, right? So when I say phone call successful, and okay, you go from lead to contacted lead. Okay, then once you schedule a measurement, which is the new, kind of the next stage, okay, and start time and okay, save. Now you go into measurement scheduled. Okay, so you can do a lot of the same stuff you can do on the customer page. It's just a lot smaller, right? With the buttons and, because it's more about the visual representation. It's a snapshot of what's going on. The other thing that I really like is it tells you how long that person has been in that stage. So you see here we have today. If you look at your current software right now in your sales funnels, you probably have people that are sitting there at 11 or 45 or all these different dates once you start, looking at like the last 12 months, okay? Something like that. You're going to have people that have sat there for a while, okay? So no one ever leaves this page, okay? You only stop tracking them when you dismiss. So over here, once they're in the invoice stage and you see it's sent and paid and invoice completed, you can stop tracking them, okay? And mark them as not tracked. You see right here, 47 days and 46 days, okay? So you have right here, so no one ever stops being tracked. You have to actually remove them in order for them to stop being tracked. Sometimes you're removing them because you've won the deal and you closed the job. Other times you're removing them because they went with someone else or you never got a hold of them and it's time to stop tracking them. But seeing how long someone's been there and sitting here, okay, is a big deal because again, it gives you a snapshot. Of course, for those of you with multiple locations, you can pick other multiple locations. Those of you with multiple salesmen, you can pick, which is pretty much all of you. You can pick which salesman to monitor their progress, okay? In the future, there's going to be really awesome reports coming from here, like when people leave the page and whether they have jobs or not. All of that is going to be, we're going to have really awesome reports. That's going to come not with this update, but a future update. But that way you can keep track of where your leads are getting to. Okay, we're getting a hold of them, we're contacting them, but we're never scheduling a measurement, or we're not doing a great job in the house. We schedule the measurement, we show up to the measurement, we complete the measurement, but we're not getting the quote out fast enough afterwards, and they're losing patience, right? So you'd be able to start to really track as a manager, like what do we need to work on as a team because we're failing here, or here. Okay. Any questions with the lead board? Okay. So now I'm going to the follow-ups page, okay? This follow-ups page gives you a list of clients that you need to follow up with, okay? So whether they came through your website, you sent out a quote, okay? You sent out a measurement, okay? After the sale, okay? Customer samples and quick estimates, okay? Which really no one uses anymore. So when you go and look at all these different spots, okay? So these quotes, if they convert to a job, then they can be dismissed. Okay, but these are all the jobs, all the quotes right now that are sent out. So you can see we have not started this Floorzap, okay? After 3 days, okay, that's when it'll revert to you as a reminder up here, okay? But these reminders right here are available here in follow-up, so you can see all the ones, whether you dismissed, from all the different categories. Is there measurements we haven't followed up with, okay? Are there, post-sales you haven't followed up with? And the only reason that these follow-ups exist is because they weren't converted. If they are converted, okay, you don't have to, it automatically takes them off this page because you have followed up and done the next stage in the process, right? So, first it's, measurements, then it's, it'll be quotes, post sales, okay, customer samples. Okay, these are all things you're going to want to follow up with. Hey, we gave you that sample, okay? So this is a great tool right here, okay, to be able to go in and see if you've been following up. Again, you can switch by location, status, okay, and make sure that, everyone's being taken care of. Okay, so this is a great place to go and see and make sure you're not letting people fall through the cracks, because as you know, in sales, follow up is the biggest thing, right? The more times you can touch the customer, the better. Okay. Any questions as far as follow-ups go? Okay. That's kind of what I wanted to show for the CRM portion. Oh, the last thing I wanted to do was alerts, okay? So alerts are split into 3 sections, okay? The first one is the messages. Messages are the most important. They're the breaking news. They're the payment's been received, quote's been approved, invoice has been signed, etc., okay? These are, priority things right here that are going on, okay? You only get your own unless you are an admin, and then in case you get everybody's, because we like to give admins visibility on what's going on, okay? So we have invoice viewed, quote approved, quote viewed, invoice, certificate signed, okay? So these are the things that are breaking news. The tasks are things that are assigned to, again, either you or, if you're an admin, everybody. Red would be past, yellow is today, blue is any future, okay? So these are ones that aren't marked as completed. So when you take action, it brings you that page, and I can say, hey, this measurement has been completed, save task. So now it is completed, okay? But until it is completed, it's going to stay on this page, okay? Now with the messages, if you hit take action, it's going to bring you to whatever quote or invoice that it's talking about. Last thing here is reminders, okay? These are based on that follow-up screen that we were just in, okay? So any follow-ups that have been sitting for, follow-up reminders that have been sitting for 3 days, that's when they're going to populate here. Whether it's a sample that hasn't been returned, a measurement that hasn't been converted to a quote, and a quote that hasn't been converted to an invoice, okay? Those are all the things that you're going to see here. They're there until, you hit take action or dismiss, or, as soon as that quote is converted, it's taken out of here, because, you no longer need to follow up with that quote because now it's an invoice. Okay? The third thing that we keep track of is invoices that have been sitting. So any invoice that sits there for 3 days that hasn't been signed yet, we also give follow-up reminders for. Any questions as far as alert messages go for salesmen? Okay, then I'm opening up to any questions first on topic, just in general, or things you thought I didn't cover, and then I'll open it up to just general questions. So first, anything on topic that anyone has any questions for? As far as just the CRM and customers? Okay, doesn't look like there's any of that. All right, are there any off-topic questions, feature requests, anything of that nature?
Braddock, can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a question. And this relates to, and if it's way too far off topic enough, just let me know and I can send you an email. But in regards to inventory manipulation. I am noticing that even if my newest PO for an inventory item has a corrected price, it's still not corrected when someone goes to sell it. Is that something that's going to still catch up to us, or because that doesn't help me with the margin, and then it's not editable? You know what I mean?
Not editable within the work order itself. Yes, correct. It's only editable in the products. When you actually go to the purchase order itself, you can set the price. Okay.
Okay. So, and I'm doing that, but that doesn't help me when one of our associates goes to sell something and they're trying to enter, because we're getting price increases more often than ever, obviously. So
Right.
how can a sales associate, because each time we're ordering something, even if it is truly, something that we have 5 of on the shelf, they are still using, the online portal for a vendor as a reference for the true cost price, so
Mm-hmm.
that our markup is correct in case what they're trying to sell is already spoken for, or becomes spoken for whatever reason, if there's some kind of an error in the system. So how can I make sure that the cost price is correct, short of ordering, because we don't order like 90 of something,
Right.
and then it sits there and gets sold correctly. I can't edit a cost price on anything, essentially. I can edit it when I make a PO. If I'm going to create a PO and send it to a vendor, obviously I'm putting in the correct cost price because they would also see that it's not right. But that doesn't always necessarily transfer to a current sold order
Okay.
correctly.
So, right, because you haven't sold out of the previous stock.
But the previous stock is still the wrong price. So why can't I fix that?
So the previous stock is the price that was put in when you bought it, right?
Okay. I
So
guess I'm
let's
not
say,
seeing that. I'm not
so,
seeing that be true.
okay, so when you're doing it here, and I'm just going to add in existing, so we have 2 different purchase orders here, okay? So we're going to go here, we see cost 420, price 449, okay. So let's say we just, instead of going through the whole purchase order process, I'm just going to add in existing cartons, okay? So I'm going to do 50 cartons, and I'm going to say the company cost is $490, okay, and the work order cost is like $5, okay? So there's a significant price increase, okay? And then we'll do a 50% margin, okay? So now we went from, okay, this from here to here, right? So 420 and the 449 work order cost to $5, okay? So when I go in, and I'm just going to go in,
Oops. Okay.
I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to go in and create a quote with this product. What is this product? Oh, seminar. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to go into Mickey Mouse. Okay, and I'm going to add seminar. Okay, so I have 2, I'm going to say batches back there, 2 different purchase orders, 2 different times I've ordered the product. Okay. So go in, and it's wood. Okay, and I'm going to add in the wood here. Okay. Boom. Okay, and I'm going to add it in, and it's at 0. So when I put in, okay, 1,000 square feet, okay, which is 50 cartons. Perfect. Okay, I have the 50 cartons here. It does the price at the lower price. The reason the price it pulls from, okay, here is what we call the active purchase order.
Okay.
So that is the work order price. The 449 is the price pulling. This cost is the work order cost is pulling from the active purchase order.
Okay. So I guess I had a misconception of, if I make like a stock purchase order, say I bring in like 12 bags of like 12.5 pound grout, and I know that it's $18.69. If I go into my product list or my product stock, the old price is still in there and I can't change it. right? I
No,
can't get it correct.
you can change it here, which is this work order cost.
Okay, how did you do that?
This is under the product stock page,
Product stock, okay.
and then you click on the product, and then it gives you the options, and this one is inventory. So it gives you the
Okay.
purchase orders under that product. Okay, so this PO is going to be active until it is used. So in this case, we have 30 cartons available for sale. Okay, so I don't know what the coverage is, but I'm going to make it 30 cartons. So that's 50. So it looks like 20. So I'm going to do 600. Okay, so 30 cartons. Okay, save. Now I'm going to hit quote action. Okay, I'm going to convert it to an invoice. Okay, and then invoice actions, mark is signed. Okay, boom.
Okay.
That's going to automatically allocate, right, which we all are aware of, right? So automatically allocate, let's say it's prepared and picked up, knocked out of here, okay? But really, we don't even need that, okay? We just need allocated, okay? Now, when I go to quote, and I'm just going to go to the customer here, and then I'm going to go to quote, create quote, and I'm going to add in the same product, okay? Because that old stuff is spoken for at this point, right? Even though it hasn't left your warehouse. This is the exact situation that we're talking about. Inventory products, select the top one, and then add material.
So essentially, if I
it automatically populates here is $5 because the old stock is spoken for. So what's happening in your system is your old stock isn't spoken for. Now we automatically do FIFO, first in, first out. So the oldest stock, which would be the lowest price point, is automatically going to be active. But you can go to this page and overwrite it. For example, if I looked at this product and saw there was only one carton available, I don't want it to base my quote on this price. I want it to base it on this price. So I can go in and make this purchase order active by hitting here, hitting save, and it automatically makes it allocated. So now every time this $5 purchase order is going to be the one that's active.
Okay, and so it will pull like one from one and three from the other, but they'll all be the same price.
Because you do a lot with like caulking and stuff that's not like, products like this. But yes, so you guys, it will pull automatically. So it shouldn't be pulling from a wrong price point. And then it is editable. It should be just pulling from an older price point. However, that older price point should be accurate for the purchase order it's pulling from. Now, whether you want to price it at the current prices to the customer or not is something else. But your cost should be correct because it does keep track of each purchase order that you're pulling from.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, actually related to that, I do have another curiosity question. If we're in the work order and we're starting to mark something as prepared, right? We're getting a whole pallet ready for pickup tomorrow. Does the system require us to go through and mark everything allocated then prepared, or can you go automatically to prepared?
No, you cannot go automatically to prepared. You'd first need to mark it as allocated. However, if it's in your invoice, like originally, it should automatically allocate on the signature, right? Because we want to stop overselling. And as soon as they sign
it does, yeah.
So
unless there's any reason for us to manipulate it, I wasn't sure if it had to. Okay.
Yeah, it needs to go in stage, allocate, prepared, picked up. There is no way around that in our system as of now. We're trying to make a simplified way to do it without because especially with like older jobs and things like that, without changing it too much because everything goes through those stages, right? But in order to simplify, hey, I just gave them this one instead of this one, I'm going to mark it as picked up, where it's going to automatically go through all those stages. Because right now it just gives you the error. It says it doesn't have enough to pick up, right?
Correct.
Or it doesn't have enough to do this. Instead, it's like, would you like to mark previous stages as well? and so it'll do it at once just to save you guys time and the automation behind it. So that's what
Yeah.
we're planning on doing, but that's
Okay. I wasn't sure if it affected the inventory count or available on hand count at all by skipping anything. I just wanted to make sure we weren't
no,
messing
yeah,
anything up.
it won't even let you mark it prepared and picked up if it's not allocated.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Anyone else have any other questions?
Hey, Brad, a question for you. I noticed what was it? I forget what the tab was called. It was one of the follow-up tabs.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that the salesperson could only see their own jobs. Oh yeah, that's right. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And what if it's a job where two different salespeople are tagged in it? Would they both be able to see that?
In the post sale, I think it's the main one
Just the
that
name.
sees it. Now, hopefully, if it's two, yeah, it's the first one selected. But if you're like a manager and admin, you can see everybody's.
Mm-hmm.
So usually a lot of times it's a manager that's the one helping out anyway. But if it is two separate people, yeah, it'd just be the main one.
I haven't checked, but in the settings, I'm assuming you can choose which, like for an individual person can only have access to one certain location, right?
Yes.
So could you flag them as an admin?
You put them as a manager probably under that location, yeah.
And then they'd be able to see, because our people all kind of work hand in hand, so.
Yeah, and then the other one, depending on the access, like some people actually have them as operators just because operators have naturally higher access, to see other people's jobs depending on how collaborative they are. Some people just put them as operators all the way through. If they're not collaborative and, bigger organizations and stricter, like you do your own thing, then, they make sure the salesman and they button it down. But you can also change the user permissions on what those roles mean, right?
Okay, cool.
Visually under the settings here. So under settings, user permissions, like literally you're setting as a salesman, what can a salesman do and see?
Oh, okay, awesome.
So we can go through that together on, obviously what specifically, but as you can see, salesmen, they can't do a lot of the settings and reports. They can just see their stuff,
Yeah.
But we, in order to not give them access to the list and stuff, that's why we put the product lookup that I went over earlier, because that way they can still look up the products. They just can't edit or touch any of the products. And they have to put in request to management.
Okay, awesome. That's great. And just a bit off topic, but are the packing slips and work order or order confirmations live on site yet? I didn't see that when I last checked, but that was
the packing slips. I thought were the order confirmations and testing. Actually, I was just testing it earlier today. It looked good, but I'm just making sure it doesn't break. Okay. So I actually am testing that currently.
Awesome. I don't see the packing slip under our account. Maybe.
Okay, so maybe you guys haven't been updated yet, and maybe they were waiting to update you with everything.
Gotcha.
But I'll put in Word, so we'll update you now, so you don't have to wait for, and then we'll update you again when the order confirmation comes in. So.
Thanks. Perfect. Sorry for being off topic there.
No, I mean I'm off topic. No one had any questions on topic, so.
Okay.
Any other questions? My political beliefs, anything? Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.